No, this is what happened exactly.
No, I agree. This is what happened,
that.
but I don't necessarily think he would have reacted this way if she fucking was like, if we went through it like how I would have went through it. He just fucking goes, "Oh yeah, what time do you work?"
Yesterday when we had the meeting, I didn't get out of here until 3:15.
Why?
Because you had us in the meeting.
No, I finished on time.
I've known these employees. The janitor is wrong in every sense of the word. I've heard every excuse. Oh, I was here late yesterday. Oh, I clocked in early today. Oh, I worked really hard today. Like, oh no. Like, okay, do you want to go home early? Well, then you ask somebody. Ask a manager. Get it okayed. Don't just fucking walk off the job 15 minutes early because you stayed late yesterday, you got in early today. Just because either of those two things happen doesn't mean that you get to leave early. The fuck? Or if you want to leave, at least ask somebody, right? I feel like people are siding with him because they don't like the way she's speaking to him. I mean, she's speaking in what do you want her to do? Do you want her to fucking pat him on the back? Do you want her to fucking rub his neck while she disciplines him? It sounds like the employees come 100% in the wrong. What the fuck do you expect her to say? Okay. The biggest problem that the employee is having here is the employee, you cannot fight. I'm just going to get like so tilted having this conversation with a bunch of fucking children. You can't fight your fucking boss over what you are or are not allowed to do. That's the first huge error that the employee is making here, okay? Your boss is telling you do not clock in early unless you're told to. Just don't do it. They don't want to pay you. They don't want to open the school early for liability, for any fucking reason, okay? And he's not acknowledging this. He's not acknowledging that he's even done something wrong. Don't show up to work early because you want to come in and let somebody in. Just don't do it. But he's not even acknowledging that this is a mistake on his part. Do you think he could have kept his job if he apologized? He's just a bad employee. This is just a bad employee. This is somebody that, I don't know. If I had a single situation with an employee like this, I would be looking to paper this dude out the door as soon as fucking possible. I would never, ever, ever want anybody like this on my payroll. This guy is fucking shit. I just wouldn't want him working for me. That whole like making your own hours thing and then not accepting any responsibility for fucking with your schedule and not understanding what you can or cannot do as an employee, like
that GoFundMe though.
The Reddit comment shit-talking are more retarded than this dude? Yeah, because it's fucking Redditors. How many of these people have had a job before? I don't even know, dude. How triggered are we about to be? Aside from being school policy, do you really think there's a reason behind a janitor being on premises for the full couple hours so long as the responsibilities have been attended to? I suppose there might be after-hours work. Some kid welches in the hall while leaving, but I assume they have faculty stay 1 to 2 hours after classes are dismissed. If you're paid to be there from 6:30 to 3 o'clock, then they probably expect you to be available from 6:30 until 3 o'clock. It sounds like they had an issue come up where at 2:45 they needed to call him, and it sounded like he wasn't there because he left early. So, I mean, how is that defensible? Like, but he was there early. I can't tell if you're trolling or not. Do you think her tone was appropriate? I guess. It's your boss. What are you going to do? Tell your boss to be more nice to you? What the fuck, dude? She started the conversation asking him an obvious question, and when he tried answering, she kept talking over him, repeating the question over and over. That's not how you speak to an adult. That's how you speak to a child that you want to shut up and listen. No. You have terminal fucking autism. If you can't answer, God. All right, let's listen, okay?
So, what are your hours?
Okay, what are your hours? Okay? There's one answer here.
My hours is from 6:30 to 3 o'clock.
Okay, 6:30, 3 o'clock. Nice.
Okay. Why did you leave today at 2:45?
I didn't leave at 2:45.
You did.
I did not leave at 2:45.
We were calling you.
When I left,
What time do you think you left?
When I left, when I was leaving out that door.
What time do you think you left?
When I was leaving out that door, it was 2.
What time do you?
Okay. Just give a fucking time. Not what time were you at your car, what time were you at the door, what time did you walk past the clock out machine, what time did you leave the soda machine, what time did you walk out of the building, what time did you fucking clock out, okay? That's it. Answer the fucking question, okay? You will have bosses that will do this to you. If your boss is asking you a straightforward question because you fucked up, right? If a boss asks you, how long did you leave the vegetables out, okay? Or how long did you leave the steak out of the fridge? Okay, and you're like, well, it was back on the prep. How long did you leave it? Okay, well, it was sitting on the car. How long did you leave? Right? The reason why you're not answering the question is because you know you fucked up, right? Is the meat did you leave it at room temperature for more than an hour? It has to be fucking thrown out, right? Did you fuck up? I'm asking you a simple question. How long was the meat out of the fucking fridge, right? Not, I don't care where it was. I don't care if it was between prep and kitchen or it was you were stocking or what. Just answer the fucking question, right? That's what's going on here. And I'm guessing, I don't actually know, okay? You don't know either, but I'm guessing based on what I've seen in this video, he probably has done this shit before, where you ask a question to somebody that's fucked up, and instead of just answering, okay, what time did you leave? Just say the time.
I didn't leave at 2:45.
You did. What time do you think you left?
When I left, when I was leaving out that door.
What time do you think you left?
When I was leaving out that door, it was
What time do you think you left?
2:52 when I was going out that door.
Because you left early.
I didn't leave early because I was here early.
He just said he didn't leave early, but now he's admitting that he left at 2:52. Okay, so now we've established you left early, okay? You left at 2:52. You walked out at 2:52? Does that mean you clocked out at 2:45? Did you clock out at 2:40? And you, like, get your coat and shit, and then you walk out at 2:50? How do you know when you left down to the fucking minute? Like, are you, like, 2:52? Okay, so now we've established that you've left early.
What time do you work till? What are your hours?
Miss Hoffman,
What
the
time-
fire,
what are you- Jonathan?
the fire people
Jonathan.
that was here this morning
Jonathan.
was outside. They had to get in the
Jonathan,
building.
stop talking. Jonathan, what are your hours? What are your hours? I just want to hear them again. What are they?
I told you my hours already.
Tell me again.
From 6:30 to
This might be a little bit condescending here. Asking him his hours again. You know he knows his hours, right? This is a little condescending here, but... Destiny, you're actually going to trigger me on this. If you're going to try and talk about this on an ethical level, at least acknowledge how disingenuous you're being by saying anyone who disagrees hasn't had a job when you literally quit being an employee so you didn't have to put up with shit like this. First of all, I never quit being an employee, okay? I don't know where you got this idea that I ever quit being an employee. I liked my job at the casino, and I was really fucking good at my job at the casino in every single area, okay? I was good at the register, I was good in the fucking restaurant, I was good at my customer service, I was excellent customer service, and I was one of the best cooks that we had in the kitchen, and I could do all the fucking prep for my entire fucking restaurant, and I could communicate with the other departments there, okay? I was really good at my job, and I liked that job a lot, so much that I quit fucking school because I put more value in that job than my degree, okay? So don't tell me that I quit the job because I didn't like things like this. Like, are there shitty parts about a job? Yeah, sure, right? Was I a perfect employee? Fuck no, right? There were days where I clocked in a little bit late. Sure, it fucking happened. I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. I was trying to catch a couple, maybe a few too many more minutes of sleep or whatever. But if I come into work, right, 5 minutes late, and it happened, right? If I come into work 5 minutes late and my boss is there, is like, dude, like, you're fucking late. You clocked in late. Like, I've got to write you up. And it's like, yeah, dude, I fucked up, man. Then that's it. Right? Because when you're an adult, you have responsibility for your shit, right? If I clocked in late, you think I'm gonna sit there and fucking argue? Like, yo, dude, I work like 70 hours a fucking week, and I'm a full-time student. Like, come on, dude, you're gonna cut me some slack, right? No, I'm not gonna sit there and fucking grovel, right? This is a part of being an adult, taking responsibility for your shit. You fuck up, right? Then you say it. You fuck up, right? I got a little bit more leeway than a lot of other people because I was a really good employee, all right? But if you do fuck up, then you fucking, whatever, dude, you fucking own it. And I fucked around a little bit. I got some write-ups from Pam that I probably earned myself, but I mean, dude, fuck, dude, shit happens. You fucking own it, dude. And when you're sitting here like, when did you leave, right? And it's like my clock out hour is 6:30, and it's like, I didn't leave early. Really? When did you leave? Well, it was actually 6:22 when I left. Like, really?
6:30 to 3 o'clock. Okay, and you left early today.
I didn't leave early.
Did you leave before 3 o'clock?
He left.
I left before 3 o'clock.
Okay, why?
For the simple fact I had to come in here this morning.
Okay, huge problems going in here, okay? Huge problems. One, if you get called into work early, that is never a guarantee that you're going home early. Ever. Okay? Don't ever assume that. If you're getting called in early to a job, who here works retail? Who's worked retail? Who's worked service? Who's worked fucking restaurant, waitress, waiter, right? Everybody that's worked these jobs knows this. If you get called in an hour too early, this is what will happen. Your supervisor will probably make an effort to cut you early or first if he can, right? Even if somebody else has to stay a little bit later. They'll usually make an effort to cut you, right? But just because you come in early, that doesn't mean you're going to waltz out the clock before your time is done. Because oftentimes, the people calling you in early are doing it because of things that are outside of their control, and they might not even be doing it to the shift that you're going to ultimately end up on. If the day shift manager calls you in 30 minutes early because they need a little bit of help because somebody called out, that doesn't mean that the swing shift manager is all of a sudden ready for you to ditch him 30 minutes early. That's not how these work. You can't just leave because... You can't just leave because you came in early. That doesn't work that way, right? Oftentimes, you're still required to work late after coming in. Yeah, that can happen too. If you don't want to come in early, just tell them to fuck off. It's awkward, but it's totally within your right. If you're scheduled to work at 4 and they call you at 2 and they want you to come in 30 minutes early, you say, fuck, dude, I'm scheduled at fucking 4, motherfucker. Call someone else. That's totally within your right. Fucking do it, dude. If you don't want to work early, that's fine. But don't ever go in early expecting that you're going to be off 30 minutes early, right? Destiny, maybe in America, but in some country that nobody gives a fuck about that you're definitely not talking about, it's different. Thanks, RPG, for that contribution. I bet in fucking Finland and Norway and Russia, and I bet in Australia, and I bet in other countries it's probably different too. Thanks, buddy.
Because the fire people was out there, outside, sitting outside in their cars, and they had to get in the building to do the fire alarm.
Okay.
So I had to come in the building at 6:15. Miss Beckett, both of us came at the same time when I had to
Who
let them
told
in.
you to come at 6:15?
It's not.
Who told you to come at
It's not.
6:15?
It's not that I wanted to come in at 6:15, Miss Hoffman. I was sitting outside, and the fire people was outside waiting in the car to get inside the
Then
building.
they wait.
That's it. Yeah. If they show up early, the fuck? It's not your job to let them into the building early. Maybe they're showing up early because they just want to get their shit together. Maybe they show up early because they get fucking paid whenever because they're fucking firemen and they work 24-hour or 72-hour shifts anyway. Maybe they're just early because they're fucking bored and they got some donuts and they want to chill. It doesn't matter why they got there early. You do not have authorization or permission to go in there and open that shit early. Why would you do that? If you opened it early and some bad shit fucking happened on your watch, you're fully fucking liable for that shit. Why would you even assume the risk? Don't open the building early to anybody. What if it was a fake fire truck and some dudes knew that some dipshit was going to be there and they open it up for the dudes, right? Or there's a million reasons why you wouldn't do this. You don't do this. Don't open the building early for firemen or policemen, unless it's a literal fucking emergency or some shit, right? Wait until the time the school building opens and then open it, right? Nobody that works, come on.
We are not open until 6:30.
So they have to wait until 6:30 to get inside the building and do the fire alarm?
Yep.
If they don't have a key,
Yep.
the building is not open until 6:30.
Yep.
You don't adjust your hours just because you feel like it.
Yep.
I didn't do it because I felt
So
like...
this is the point where the employee goes, okay, you're right, my bad. I fucked up. I shouldn't have let him in. I understand that it's not my call to make on whether or not I let another entity into the building, right? I'm scheduled to work at 6:30. I shouldn't have clocked in early to let him in. That was my bad. You don't sit here and argue the fucking point. You're in the wrong, 100%. You're completely in the wrong.
Like it, Miss Hoffman. I was doing it to help the fire people to get inside the building.
Who told you to open the building early? Did your boss, Susan Opferman, tell you to start your hours early today?
I was not supposed to start my hours early today. But, like I was telling you, the fire people had to get inside. They were sitting out there for almost an hour.
Who is your boss? Is your boss Susan Offerman or the fire marshal? Who is your boss?
Miss Hoffman used my boss. I never
what
said
are
you
your
was my
hours?
boss. I explained my hours to you.
6:30 to 3.
Yes.
Okay, and we needed you at 2:45. And we're calling you on the walkie, and I called you on the phone finally because nobody could find you, and the guy said you left early.
No, I did not leave early. I had just left
Jonathan,
when they said that. I had just left.
Jonathan,
you left early, dude.
Before 3 o'clock, you left early. You left.
Does she sound like a bitch? I mean, I guess maybe a guy saying the exact same thing in the exact same tone would sound commanding to you or whatever. But dude, what the fuck are you gonna say to some fucking stupid employee that thinks he can fucking ditch work 15 minutes early because he came in 15 minutes early when nobody even asked him to, right? How do you communicate to somebody this stupid, right? Holy fuck. How do you even talk to somebody like this that isn't taking any responsibility for fucking up, for clearly fucking up?
Before your shift was done.
So let me explain this to you. From yesterday when we had the meeting, I didn't get out of here until 3:15.
I think most people hate the principal because she's condescending. Not so much over who is right versus wrong. Also, she's fat and has a bad haircut.
Why?
Because you had us in the meeting.
No, I finished on time.
No, it wasn't. When I left out that door, that's the time I left out that door.
Yesterday.
The whole "what are your hours" repeated multiple times and saying "who is your boss," referring to herself in the third person, makes her seem super fucking power hungry. It's not. It's because he doesn't understand. It's not penetrating his skull that he can't open the building early. He doesn't understand this. He doesn't think he's in the wrong at all. And he even goes on to repeat it again later on in this conversation.
Okay.
I did. I made it a point to finish on time yesterday because I do not want to keep you past your hours.
It was when I left out the building, Miss Hoffman. It was past 3 o'clock.
I don't know what you were doing between when you left that room at 3 o'clock to when you left this building.
Okay.
But I did not give you permission to leave early today. You left before your shift was over. You left before your shift was completed.
A guy would sound like an asshole too. Why would you bring that up? I don't know. People are saying she sounds bitchy. I mean, maybe a little bit, but this employee is fucking retarded. He's so fucking stupid. I don't know how else are you supposed to get it through to somebody that, one, you can't come in early because you want to. Two, you can't fucking leave early because you came in early. And three, why would you defend either of these things when your boss, I'm sitting here telling you that you're not allowed to do it?
Shift finishes at 3 o'clock. And you left before 3 o'clock without permission. Do you understand that?
He knows he fucked up, too. When she asked what time he left, and he's like, I didn't leave. I left at 2:52. That's some shit that you say when you know you fucked up. When you come into work and your boss is walking towards you, you're like, oh, shit, he got me. And the boss is like, hey, you dipped out early yesterday. And you're like, well, actually, according to my watch, it was, I know I was supposed to leave at 3:30, but it was like 3:27 when I clocked out. And I didn't get to my car until 3:36 because I cleaned up 2 tables before I left on the way out. Like, you know you fucked up. You know you fucked up.
I understand.
Okay. I have to call HR. I just want you to know that.
Okay, and what
I don't know. I'm going to see what they say. Because you
I left
10
minutes before the time that I was
15 minutes
in early. I mean.
Now he says he left 10 minutes early, even though initially he said he left at 2:52 and not 2:50. And he said, so we went from being on time. We left exactly at 3. We didn't leave early. Then we left it, I left early. That's because I came early. Then it was, I left at 2:52. Now it's, I left because I left 10 minutes early.
I asked you to come in early. No one asked you to come in early.
I don't understand.
You are not supposed to open this building until 6:30. Your shift starts at...
This is a really typical example of your leadership because she just berates him instead of actually trying to resolve the problem. You can't resolve the problem. And if the employee doesn't recognize there's a problem, you can't resolve the problem, right? Anybody that's taken music or sports or whatever, right? This is the problem solving 101, right? You cannot fix a problem that you're not cognizant of. If you're not capable of recognizing a problem, you cannot fix the problem. This guy doesn't even realize that he is in the wrong. Like,
at 6:30.
I understand that. But like I said, I had to make the adjustment because they were sitting outside.
Why is he still arguing this? I had to change my own schedule. You don't write your own schedule, dog.
You did
Trying to get in.
You did not have to make the adjustment. The only one that changes your schedule is me. The only person that gives permission for your schedule to be different from 6:30 to 3 is me.
So it might sound, I guess, if you're not familiar with this, maybe it sounds like she's being bossy, but she's just establishing that, like, you don't write your own hours. The firemen outside don't come in and set your hours, right? I make the schedule, right? You're supposed to be here when I think you're supposed to be here, and that's it. I'm the only one that can change that.
They are not your boss. I am very upset that you did not work your full shift today.
Okay, so if this is going to be on me, you might as well get everybody else that leave the same time or leave earlier.
And then we do the classic. Well, hold on. I saw Sarah and Jane and Fred and George. All of them did it too. How am I going to get in trouble when everybody... No, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Too. Because there's a lot more people doing that, just me. It seemed like I'm being picked out.
Well, we needed you today.
Every time, Miss Hoffman, you always picking me out the bunch.
Jonathan,
it seems like you're harassing me right now. You seem like I'm being harassed because every time I come in here,
you're not being harassed.
I'm always in the meetings with you, and you always seem to be yelling and screaming at me, always telling me this, that, and the third, and it's getting to that frustration point.
Jonathan, I am not harassed.
It sounds like she's being bossy. Are you that fucking blind, Destiny? That's because she's his boss. This culture that we have today is fucking cancerous. Between this and all the airplane shit, basically anytime you make a video of anybody getting disciplined for any fucking reason, everybody will rally to them, I guess. Jesus Christ. How pathetic. What a fat, pathetic, insufferable bitch, so high in her ability to have even a scrap of power over someone for once, stretching it as far as she can so she can feel a little better about herself before she goes home and stuffs her face with Twinkies while dreaming of there being a man who might actually fuck her. I love the epic Redditor, 1,600 fucking upvotes, obesity rate of the United States. How many fat-fingered, Cheeto dust-encrusted fucking virgins upvoted this comment, thinking that they were putting her in her fucking place, while their fucking Cheeto-stained dick every night is only attended to by their own fucking hands. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How fucking pathetic are you? Is this real life right now? Holy shit. All right, you're on the hot seat. Are you excited? Uh-oh.
Shit. Yeah. Fuck. You know how long I've been watching you, man?
I don't know. 12 hours today, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's up?
Okay. So you're talking about people who clock in at a certain time and they leave at a certain time.
Sure.
But as a custodian, you have a lot of tasks. It's not just like little bullshit, like just cleaning and, just little random shit like that. You have to be around for other things. And sometimes you have to come in early to help people. And it's almost like an unspoken rule, especially if this guy was working with the union and he was back, and he wasn't getting paid by the hour. You know what I mean? Things like that. You just have to work a certain amount of time, you do your shit, and you leave.
Okay, so firstly, it doesn't sound like that's the agreement here, that there's some unspoken rule that he comes in early. It doesn't sound like that's what's going on here. I don't know if maybe that happens with your job, but that's not at all the impression that I got here.
I mean, but he does talk about other people doing things, and I know you see it as him kind of pulling a victim card.
Yeah, because...
But I don't think that's the case. I think people do that, man. The principal will leave early, and this person who's disciplining him.
If you get disciplined by your boss, and it's something that is against the rules, and it's written in the rules that it's against the rules, and you know other people do it, has the excuse, other people do it too, ever helped you?
To a certain extent, I mean, it has. I've worked in other places, like retail and shit like that.
Okay,
and
so in these frontline jobs, so you've been pulled into an office before, and it was either being lazy on a cash register transaction or not getting a signature on a credit card receipt or not stocking something dumb like that, right? You've gotten called in and the manager said, listen, we have documented you've done this, you've fucked up a few times, you need to stop doing this or whatever, and you're getting a, either a verbal warning or a written warning or something, and you've been like, well, hold on, everybody else does it. That's gotten you out of trouble. They've been like, oh, well, in that case, never mind. They've totally just let you walk on that?
There have been investigations that have been opened because of it, yeah.
Sure, okay. But it's not going to save you from discipline.
I mean, now, my job now, the job that this guy has on the video, it has representation. If I'm going to get disciplined, I have the right to call a lawyer from the union, and they'll come in, and I don't even have to talk to my boss. I know this guy's might be in a different situation, but the way he's talking, it seems very similar to my job. And if you're working for a school district, you're probably working for the state, and it's similar all around,
So janitors can just leave whenever they want? You think in most public schools, if they just want to peace out at 30 minutes early, they can do that, and that's fine? You think?
I live in California, and I see it all the time, and I'm not even a senior custodian. The senior custodians, the ones that are there for or have been there for years, I'm talking about 15, 20 years, they do what they want, man. And nobody tells them shit. And not just the custodians, also the secretaries, the principals, the nurses.
So if some shit happens, if there's a big spill or some shit, at the end of the day, your custodians just piece the fuck out. You're just like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, he just leaves early sometimes, so...
Yes.
This sounds fucking retarded. This sounds like every horrible fucking
Destiny,
thing that's ever existed with unions.
Yeah, but things are very different from in the real world, man.
In the real world, this sounds like some fucking socialized bullshit. So you guys just don't have to do any real work. You don't have a real fucking schedule. You just show up when you want, leave when you want, and fuck everything else. You don't care about the job you get paid for or the hours you're supposed to work. You just leave whenever. It sounds fucking retarded to me. But I've never had a union job before, so I don't know what it's like to get paid. I guess for not really doing anything. I guess I do now in my stream. But what you're describing to me sounds like really fucking retarded.
We're talking about the last 10 minutes of this guy's shift.
It doesn't matter.
It's
that's
not
when
the
you're
whole thing, dude.
But that's when you're on the clock. If you're supposed to be there till 3, then they should be able to call you until 3.
You're talking like he doesn't work at all.
No, I'm not talking like he doesn't work. You're talking like if you work 7 hours, you can miss 1. That I've never and now I'm fully admitting. Listen, I will fully admit to you right now that I don't know anything about union work. So this could be a totally different world, okay? In any other work I've ever heard of, you will never be able to say I was here for an hour and 50 minutes or for 7 hours and 50 minutes. Who cares if I missed the last 10? That never works anywhere. Maybe in the union world. Are you telling me it does in the union world? And then I guess I'll augment my comments about that.
Your comments.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I wasn't aware that in union work you guys I guess could be that fucking lazy. Holy shit.
I wouldn't say it's more union. I say it's the chrono system has a lot to do with it. If you have to clock in at the beginning of your shift and clock out at the end of your shift, everything is documented in the computer. And when you have a salary job like probably this guy was making, he was making 21 an hour. That's more of a, you just put that on there. But you working with these jobs, you get paid salary by the month, so you don't have to be there. You don't have to clock in. You come in, you say hi to your boss if you want, and you leave after your shit's done. You don't have to clock in. It's not whatever. When you worked at the casino, did you have to clock in?
Yeah, I did.
It sucked, huh?
What?
It sucked, didn't it?
I guess.
I mean, what? You would take half-hour lunches, an hour lunch? What were you working?
You have to. It comes out of your paycheck, so.
Yeah, these kind of jobs aren't like that.
But I mean, we had managers and other people that were salaried never left early. Like, unless they were like handing off a shift and it was like really fucking slow or some shit like that. But I don't know. Custodial work just doesn't seem like something you would leave early for, especially because typically, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really, I mean, I don't, the only experience I have, I guess I did work study in high school, but like, isn't there some shit that you have to do at the end of the day when all the kids are gone? Like, you can't like buff the floors or like mop the hallways or any of that shit until like with students coming afterwards. Like, right, like the fuck is the point? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not his particular job.
You have two types of custodians usually in a school. It's like either a day custodian, somebody who's there with the kids when the kids are there during the day, or a night custodian, somebody comes in afterwards. Like, and there's another system with high schools, at least around here, that it's like a bigger group of custodians that just work during the day.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that the day custodians are probably there for big things, and the night custodians are the guys that do like the big like overnight project, not overnight, but like the nighttime, making sure everything is clean for the next day.
Yeah, like this guy she was probably looking for him to do something.
So that makes it sound like it's even more important that he has to be there when he's scheduled to be there. He's not even doing like huge tasks like the night guys are. He's there literally like as a kind of not an on-call employee, but like somebody that needs to be there to attend to like immediate situations. This seems like even worse of a reason for him to leave early then.
It is, but though at least in my district, the night custodians come in at like right at the same time that I'm like leaving. So we kind of see each other, and sometimes we communicate, sometimes we don't. But
what if the night custodian comes in on time though, and you're leaving work 15 minutes early?
That happens. I'm not one to look, I work hard. I'm not a person to leave early, but I'm telling you, this shit happens.
And you defend it as a workplace practice? You think that's okay, I guess?
I know that it's real, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't think that you should just.
But again, we're not talking that it's real. I guess like again, like I'm not trying to sound condescending. I fully admit I don't understand like union atmosphere or whatever at all. But like you say, it's real. I would never get away with using this excuse. If the boss is like, "Dude, you're 5 minutes late," I'm like, "Dude, everybody does." It's like that's not a defense. It's not a defense. It's real, dude. People do it. Like this would never work as an excuse to get out of trouble.
Dude, get a job with the city, or get some friends that work with the city, and ask them how their job is, and ask them if it's similar or if they can agree with this guy's perspective, because I think you'll find that, people don't always see things the way you see them. And I don't think it's right. I don't think people should be able to leave early and shit. It's wrong. But this guy was probably getting fucked over because she probably didn't find him when she really needed him to do something really, really important. You're right. It's really important. But it's just one little thing, and he's used to working this way, and he's used to seeing everybody else work this way in the union or wherever he's working. And for them, they get accustomed to that kind of shit. It just happens, man. I know it's fucked up, but the real world is fucked, dude. Like,
no, that's fine. Like, I don't I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everybody's a fucking model employee, right? I know that some people will goof the fucking clocks. I know that some people will ditch for the last 15 minutes and smoke a cigarette and then come back and clock out or shit like that. Or I've even seen people do some stupid fucking dumbass time card shit where you leave, I remember at the work study at high school, you'd have a friend ditch like 10 minutes early and another dude would punch him out for him. Like I know this kind of stuff probably happens, but like, there's a difference between saying it happens and I'm going to go and argue with my boss to defend it when I get caught doing it, right? But like typically the way that I see most of this stuff, because I've never worked in a perfect environment where every employee is picture perfect, and I'm not picture perfect, right? But typically this is how it goes. You usually try to skirt the rules as much as possible as an employee, right? Because you, let's be real, if you're fucking getting paid by the hour, you're not getting paid more for doing a better job. So you try to do the least work you can to get by, right? And if you can cut a corner, you'll do it. But if you get caught cutting a corner, you kind of grip and gripe and, whatever, fuck me, like, and that's it. But you don't go on like some big like grandstand, like defending the corner cutting that you knew you probably weren't supposed to be doing. Like, that just sounds bizarre to me.
I don't think he was grandstanding.
He
honestly.
was. He was like, why couldn't I clock in early to let in the fire department? And
he never said clock in. He never said clock in. Stop using that term, because he doesn't clock in. It's obvious. Even when she says you came in at this time, she didn't say you came in and you clocked in. No, it's not like that.
Okay,
dude.
Whether he came in or clocked in, he was using it as an excuse to leave early. The fact that he came in 15 minutes early was his excuse for leaving 15 minutes early.
Okay.
So that was his argument. He's like, well, I came in early to help the fire dude, so I needed to leave early. Like,
I've done that, bro. Like, I've let in sheriff department people. I've let in fucking the science teacher early. Like, and it happens, dude. And some teachers have their own fucking keys, and some teachers know the codes, because all these schools usually are locked up.
Like, let's say that you do that, okay? If you let in the science teacher early. Let's say that it's your school open, or whatever building you're in, it's opened at 6:30. Let's say you let in the science teacher early. He comes in early, and at 6 o'clock, he does some fucked up shit in the lab, and something catches on fire, and some bad shit happens with the school. You're fucked. You know that, right? Like, you're fucked completely. Because why would you let somebody into the building? Because now you're assuming, like, so much liability onto yourself. Why would you do that?
Trust. I think that's something that you don't understand, man.
No, it's not about understand. Maybe it's me. I don't know. That just sounds like a bad idea to me, dog. This is why you try to play as much by. This is why you don't do shit off the fucking clock. This is why you make sure you're clocked in and you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because, like, you're assuming so much liability there for you to open the door to somebody if you're not supposed to. Because anything that goes wrong at that point will fuck you. This is why, like, sometimes you might hear managers say some shit where, like, an employee's like, well, I know you guys need help. Like, I'll clock out and work a little bit. Fuck no, I don't want you clocking out and working. If you fucking hurt yourself, I'm fucked. I'm completely fucked.
Yeah, because you get hurt off the clock.
Yeah,
right?
then you're fucked, dude. I got an employee back here that's not on the clock that just got hurt. Work's not going to fucking cover him. I'm probably going to get fucking fired, right? If the company doesn't get sued because there's some crazy fucking employee bullshit going on here where a guy is working off the clock, right? I would never assume that liability is a boss. When I ask you not to work off the clock, it's not because I care about you as an employee. It's because I'm not going to assume that liability. That's fucked up. But that would go the same way. Like, that seems like an easy no. Like, if somebody's like, yo, I really need to get in early, it's like, listen, dude, you sound like a cool dude, but I'm not gonna let you in early, because any fucked up shit that you do, that's on me now. Like, I mean, you call it trust, I guess. I don't know. It's like when somebody comes in, like, I mean, that shit's happened before. Someone comes into the casino and they're like, hey, like, I really need the phone number of, Jason that works in the back. I have to call him. Like, it's really important. It's like, dude, we don't give out fucking numbers here. I don't know who the fuck you are. You might be some crazy stalker motherfucker. Get a phone book, dude. Like,
look, man, I agree with you. I'm 27. I'm your age. I've worked since I was 16. I worked at places that like Trader Joe's and shit like that. And I understand that those jobs are different, man. And now I work in a union, and it's way, way, like, chiller, honestly. I don't know what else to say. Like, and the way this guy is acting, it seems like he's used to a certain lifestyle, and it might not be right. But the way that she's kind of talking to him, it just seems like, I don't know. There could be something else going on. You don't know what her exact position is. If she's an administrator, or if she's like
but I know 3 or 4 things from this video. 1, she's the only one who could set his hours. If I believe what she's saying, I don't know why she would lie to that. 2, that he does have a set schedule where he's supposed to be there from 6:30 to 3:30 or 3 or 3:30 or 3, I think. Okay, 3, that he admits that he came in early and wasn't told to, and that he left late, and that 4, he doesn't acknowledge any wrongdoing in any of this ever, even though he admits that he did leave early. Like, I mean, I gathered from all of those facts, like, it's pretty clear that he's in the wrong. So, I mean, I don't know what else, what other things I need to make a decision about whether or not the employee is in the wrong or not.
I mean, whatever decision you make, this shit's already done. You know, this shit was posted a long time ago. He's been fired. But I think that in today's day and age, things are different, or especially like in union jobs, it's just different, man. And I think if you knew about it, you would think differently. And I know you've worked like retail. Like, is that all you've worked?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I guess I did work study for my school's only janitorial stuff. Then I did McDonald's for a year, and then I did the casino job for 3 years, and then I did the carpet cleaning job for like a year or two. Yeah,
and I've asked you about carpet cleaning questions like on stream, and you've answered them. And I only know about those things because I'm a custodian, you know, about extractors and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's a whole different side to this that a lot of your viewers don't or won't ever understand.
What?
And I mean,
it's the side that you're preventing, or I don't know. All right, I understand.
I'm not preventing anything. What? I'm a fucking janitor, dude.
All right, I love you, my dog.
All right, man. Well, have a good night, and tell Nathan's mom that I said Happy Mother's Day.
All right, I'll let her know.
All right, see you later.
All right, I'm anti-union now. I'm full on the bourgeois. What are they called? I'm in that group now. All right. What's up, my dude?
Oh, Destiny. Right.
I'm trusting you, dude. I'm trusting you to make a good argument.
I'm putting a different argument on the table, too. But...
Uh-oh.
Okay, listen, Jimberg. So in the video, if you're watching it, like, she doesn't necessarily bring up any past occurrences of him, like, clocking out early. Now, while I disagree with him clocking out early, I think you're 100% on that. I don't necessarily think that he should have been, I'm going to go to HR the first time ever.
Oh, well, I mean, like, if this was the very first time it happened, then that's definitely an overreaction, sure.
In the video, she doesn't seem to bring up a...
in the video, he mentions that he's
he does. Yeah. I agree. That, like, maybe he's said, like, something has happened before, but... If it was the first time ever where she's ever had to, like, where she wasn't necessarily nitpicking at him, like, maybe she had to sit them down for the first time ever. I don't think that was the best way to, like, you want to kind of rehabilitate your fucking employees, right? You don't want to fucking bring them in and be like, okay, listen here, Jimberg, this is your first time ever. I know you clocked out 5 minutes early. I've got a stick on my ass. We're going to HR fucking immediately. Like, that's going to create resentment between the fucking employee and the lady. I don't know. Do you understand where I'm coming from there?
Yeah, I mean, she probably could have handled it better, sure.
Okay, so do we disagree do you disagree with anything I'm saying right there? Would you go to the HR the very first time?
Well, I don't think this was the very first time.
Under the assumption.
If it was the very first time, sure, but we know from the video that this isn't the very first time.
Well, this is maybe the first time where they actually sat down together. She may have nitpicked at him before.
Well, she said that when they were in meetings before or whatever, he made it sound like she'd specifically called him out before, so I'm not...
Okay. But if it were the first time under that assumption, we do agree that that's just how it seems to me.
I mean, I wouldn't go to HR. I don't know what their write-up process is.
Right? How would you feel if some lady was fucking coming to you the very first time? It's like, I'm gonna go to HR. Like, wouldn't that create resentment between you and your employer?
I mean, he'd be getting a write-up for this at the very.
You think so?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Oh my god.
Yeah, easy.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Easy. Yeah, of course. Without even having to think about it, because this is the kind of employee. This is the kind of employee that you want a paper trail on, so you can kick his ass out the door as soon as possible. When an employee fucks up and they start arguing with you about it, saying that they didn't fuck up,
if she would have came about it a whole different way and been like, "Hey, Jimberg here. Listen, if you cannot do this, last time you clocked out a little early, buddy. You know that's kind of fucked up for you to do.
Okay, but like that. I mean, like, I guess that maybe that's kind of possible, but you have to walk a line too. Like, you're gonna let your employees walk all over you like that? Like, you're gonna hey, listen, John and Amy, I know that you guys were fucking back there in the fridge. Okay, and I'm not telling you guys can never fuck. Okay, on the clock, but like, you're maybe on break or something. Like, it would be super cool. Or if John at least tried to keep his dick away from the frozen meats.
You want to be tactful about it a little bit, don't you think?
Sure, but I mean, like, the guy was clearly in the fucking wrong. Like, what is she supposed to do? Like, like shoot him a text message like, "Hey, John."
Sometimes no, God no. You want to deal with it a little differently than that, though, right? You don't want to be a fucking cunt about it.
I don't know.
Like,
I just
go to HR.
Well, but that was way after 3 minutes of him refusing to acknowledge that he even did anything wrong.
And I agree, he shouldn't have done that. But
that's like
he would have approached it differently had he handled it differently.
You're kind of saying that, like, so, like, you're kind of saying, like, oh yeah, well, yeah, he could have did that differently. But like, that's the central point. That would be the reason why I would write somebody up like this. If I bring an employee in and they fuck up, and like, let's say that I bring in an employee and he shows up 30 minutes late to work, and I bring him in and I'm like, dude, like, and it's a Sunday, right? And I'm like, dude, you can't come into work 30 minutes late. And he's like, oh shit, like, I'm sorry, dude, like, it's Sunday, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I'm like, dude, no, you have to be at your schedule. I was like, all right, my bad, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, right?
But
then that's it.
If he, let's say he accomplished all of his goals,
but he did. This guy didn't accomplish all of his goals. He needed. He was
mentioned in the
he
video.
was called
at the very end of the day, assuming
he was called. He was called at 2:45 and he wasn't there, dude.
I agree with you on this point.
Sure, but I'm just saying that, like, that if the employee did that, then we would be fine. I'm not gonna write him up. But if I bring him in and I'm like, dude, you're here 30 minutes late, that's not good. He's like, dude, it's just.
Look how she initiated the conversation though. Like, what time do you work today? What fucking time do you work today? Like, I don't know.
That's super standard. If an employee comes in 30 minutes late,
I don't know, dude.
I mean, I've had boss say that to me before. I would expect anybody to say that. If an employee shows up 30 minutes late, that's the first question you ask them. I was like, yo, when are you scheduled to be here? And the guy's like,
a more tactful way to do it to rehabilitate an employee. I don't feel like I can see the resentment. I could understand why he would answer that way. Like, hey, don't do this. Like, if you came in there and she posed it differently, it was like maybe a little bit nicer about it.
Okay, John, let's pretend that we're playing Jeopardy, okay? Now, for $200, what is your starting time on Sunday? What is 8 o'clock? Oh, that's right. Oh my God. So next time, can you please just make sure you're here on time? That'd be super great. Like, is this how you...
No. You say, John, listen. You're supposed to be here at a certain time, okay? And I expect you to clock out at a very specific time. Right now, I understand that you left early last time, blah, blah, blah. If you could not do that next time, it's going to be a much bigger deal if you do that next time. We really, really
But I was here early. I let in the fireman.
Did I say that?
I was here early. I let in the fire people.
I didn't say that.
I left at 2:52. I wasn't even here late. Okay, yeah, let's have a sample conversation, okay? Go ahead. All right, you pull me in the office. What do you want, Mr. Osslater?
Okay, listen here, Trimber.
Yeah?
What the fuck? We've gone through this fucking conversation how you and I
no, let's do it. We'll walk through it right now. Go. Well, hello, Mr. Osslater.
Such a mongoloid.
Do it.
You're such a mongoloid.
Do it. Walk me through it. I want to hear how a good manager does it.
Okay, Destiny. Okay. No, this is how I would do it if I wanted to rehabilitate.
Okay, hello, Osslater. Yep. Okay, let's do it.
Not be a fucking rat.
All right, go. Osslater.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Yeah?
Okay. Next time I need you to actually stay if you're designated.
I was here my whole shift. I didn't leave early.
No, but I don't think he would have reacted this way had she.
No, this is what happened exactly.
No, I agree. This is what happened, but I don't necessarily think he would have reacted this way if she fucking was like, if we went through it like how I would have went through it. He just fucking goes, "Oh yeah, what time do you work? What fucking time do you work?"
She didn't say that. She was like, she said, what time are you scheduled to be in here? This is like super standard.
Too. The inflection on her tone is fucking awful, dude. Now I agree with you 100%. She's allowed to handle it this way, but if you want to rehabilitate an employee, this is not the way you go about it. This is not the way you go about it. This is how you create resentment between an employee and a manager.
This is like a super standard question. Hey, what time were you supposed to be here? What's your schedule say?
How she treats him the entire way and how she reiterates herself multiple times in a condescending tone. I don't necessarily
because he won't answer the question. He's like, well, like, what time did you leave yesterday?
Wasn't that the first thing? Wasn't that the first thing she fucking asked when he got in the fucking room? What time do you work today, John?
Okay, let me listen exactly to her voice. Hold on, let me see. Okay, here, hold on.
For all the support.
So, what are your hours?
It's totally standard question. That was like,
here. Is that the first thing
she said, what are your hours? What are your hours?
She fucking asked, like I asked, but it was very condescending how she asked it. And she asked it multiple times. No. What are you laughing about?
So, what are your hours?
My hours is from 6:30
I don't know. My goal
to 3 o'clock.
between like if I had.
Why did you leave today? 2:45.
This is super standard. What are your hours, dude?
If I had my own place of business, I don't know. If I had my own place of business, I would have handled this much differently. Am I saying he's in the right for the 900th time just to fucking some not taken out of context? No, I agree with you. He should have stayed to the end of his shift. If all of his tasks were completed, right? then he probably should have fucking, he still probably shouldn't have left. But if it was a one-off deal, then it's not necessarily. I don't necessarily think it was.
But it's probably not a what, dude. You know it's not a one-off. You know it's not a one-off deal.
Dude,
why is he walking into the office with a fucking camera, dude? You know this isn't. You know this isn't the first time this has happened, dude.
Oh shit. Okay, let's not give you that. I still think she was a cunt. Yeah.
Because she
I didn't necessarily think about that. Okay, listen. No, yeah, but how she posed the question?
It's totally. How else could she say? What are your hours?
We went through this. We just went through this. Like John, we went through this. Okay, listen. When you bring up the camera thing, I'm pretty fucked, pretty hard here.
No, I don't. Not even the camera thing. He later says,
no,
like,
I mean, I agree that like you're probably some shit's about to go down if you watch it with the fucking camera.
Like this is seriously like this is you, dude. You go into the office and she's like, "Hey, oscillator, what are your hours?" You fucking cunt! What do you mean by what are my hours? Like, what do you? Like, how is she supposed to? Like, are you serious, dude?
I agree. I didn't think about that. I didn't take the video camera thing into perspective, but I still, if this obviously, and like I said, my framed argument was if this was his first time, then I would have handled this a little differently. Can we agree on that if that were his first time? Now, obviously, it probably was. Under the assumption that it was, I wouldn't have.
I mean, I don't think her opening is bad at all. She said, "What are your hours?" I don't know, dude.
Because it just seems condescending. If you want somebody to act a certain way, right? Like I would probably go about it a different way than that. Don't you think?
Sure. Okay.
Does this make sense to you? Or
no, I mean, I totally disagree. I think that this is a perfectly fine way to open a conversation.
I mean, it is. You don't want to rehabilitate your employee at all.
I mean, if my employey has problems rehabilitating because I'm asking them what their hours are, I don't think this is an employee that's ever going to... How is it condescending, dude?
John, what are your hours? What are your hours, John? Like, if he left on a one-off time the fucking first time ever.
You just ask him, what are your hours? 6:30 to 3? Then why the fuck are you leaving at 2:52, motherfucker? That's an easy question.
It just makes me I would want to strangle my boss at that point in time. Like, I feel like we're not going to... Have you ever been angry and, like, your dad's fucking screaming at you, dude? And,
she's not screaming at him.
I'm just saying, like, maybe he's condescending and treating you like a fucking child because, at the time you are a child. Like, you don't really want to put up with this nonsense or fucking listen to anything he has to say. Like, I don't know. You kind of have a hard time, like, listening to what she has to say when you're that fucking angry after you're being a fucking piece of shit.
Why are you that angry when you're the one that fucked up?
I agree. Dude. I don't disagree with this. He did fuck up, but... I don't know. I just feel like I would have went about it totally differently, and if the problem reoccurred, maybe then I would have went to HR about it. It's not something I'm going to bring up the first time, under the assumption. But yeah, you're probably right. It probably wasn't the fucking first time. If you brought a fucking video camera in, it was like, I'm ready for this bitch. Like, I don't think that's the best way to handle it. Wow, 736,000 views. Holy shit, dude.
All right, my dude. Okay, I love you, buddy. It's been
I
fun.
love you too. Don't die on me, okay?
All right, stay safe.
Catch you later, Jim Bird.
All right, dude. You're up next. Welcome to Destiny Coast to Coast, the night shift.
All right. Hello?
Third shift. What's up, dude? You're on.
What's up, buddy?
East of the Rockies or west of the Rockies?
East.
Okay.
Okay, so I felt like I really related with this, or not with the guy, but with you. So I work at a Dunkin' Donuts, and I've been working there for like a year and a half. And like, if people want to like change their schedule around, like they have to like go to the manager first or something. Like they can't, like if I open like at 5:30, I can't just come there at like 5 and then like leave at 12:30.
Yeah.
My shift is supposed to end at 1.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. It just seems kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, you would fuck over the person like that you're handing the shift off to. You might fuck over the manager.
Yeah, because like you leaving 30 minutes early because you chose to come in like 30 minutes early. Like you could get a rush at like 12:30, and even if you don't get a rush, like you just stand around and like wipe counters and stuff.
Yeah, you got fucking side work to do, right?
Like, exactly. Like, you can stand there for 30 minutes and still get paid for it. Like, I don't know. But, I don't know. Like, I felt like the way she opened the entire conversation, like, it felt like he's already had, like, previous, like, confrontations with her. And that's, like exactly, like, when you said he brought in the phone, like, it just kind of proves the point.
Sure.
Yeah. But,
all right. Well, hey, buddy, I appreciate your experience. What state do you live in?
I live in Florida, South Florida.
Oh, shit. Are you near Miami, my dude?
I'm like a couple hours away.
Okay. Well, if I'm driving through, okay, I want to get some free fucking Dunkin' Donuts, okay?
I mean, if you come in, I'll let you.
Oh, shit. All right. Okay, I'll remember, dude.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Stay safe.
All right. What is this? 9 hilariously non-threatening leadership strategies for women. Threatening. This has to be done by Monday. Non-threatening. What do you think about getting this done by Monday? Threatening. I have an idea. Non-threatening. I'm just thinking out loud here. Oh, shit. Oh, no, dude. Shadowstruck, do you want to come on and do it, my dude? You want to come on and have the conversation? Hey, Diego, first-time caller line. How's it going? Welcome to the third shift. Destiny.gg, late at night. Take it away.
You hear me?
Yeah,
you hear me?
I can hear you, buddy.
Right, there's no
Loud and clear. Make sure your radio's off in the background so we don't get any echo.
Yeah, okay, I'm good. I just want to clarify this by saying that I've worked at a pita store, and I currently work as a busboy. But I've never been in this kind of situation.
A Peter store?
A pita store.
Pizza. Oh, pizza. Okay.
Pizza. You know what a pita is?
No, I don't know what the fuck that shit is. Are you American?
No, I'm Canadian. What? You don't know what a pita is? What?
Like pita bread?
Yeah, pita.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, sure. I've just never heard of like a pita store, I guess. But okay.
Yeah. Basically, I completely agree with you that he's in the wrong.
Uh-huh.
And he's an idiot for trying to fight that. But I think that the other guy, the last guy you had on, I think he had fair points, but the way he was approaching it was wrong.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I don't think you're supposed to speak to employees like the way she was doing it. She cut him off multiple times. She repeated the same question multiple times.
When did she cut him off?
Stop talking. You were watching the video, and when she asked, "What time did you leave?"
Uh-huh.
He wasn't avoiding the question. He was literally going to answer the question, but she cut him off multiple times until he finally got to the answer.
So,
I don't understand.
I mean, I think that it's because I'm going to take a guess here, and maybe this isn't fair, but I think I'm fair to read into this, that this is probably a guy that dances around shit and doesn't give you straight answers. So when she asks when you left, she doesn't want to hear like, well, I was at the door at this time, and I was at my car at this time, and I was like, she wants a number. What time did you leave, right? Well, I was at the, what time did you leave, right? If you've ever asked somebody a direct question like this and they kind of like bullshit around, then, I mean, sometimes you repeat it. I mean, I guess it's kind of rude. I won't deny that. Sure. Yeah. I guess that's kind of rude, but like.
Okay. And like he brought in okay, I know you can switch this argument around, but he brought in the camera because there's clearly history between the two.
Sure.
Could it be a possibility that maybe he feels that she speaks to him in a condescending manner?
Yeah, that's totally possible. And if I would have seen that type of behavior here, then there is a million scenarios that I could imagine where this kind of stuff is totally possible. Let's say that he's scheduled to work from 6:30 to 3, and let's say that some shit goes down at 2:45, and he's got to pick his daughter up from something at 3:15, right? He stays up, he cleans as best he can, and then he clocks out at 3. Let's say that he gets called in, and now she's very upset because he left and he hadn't finished his job, right? And let's say that he's trying to explain, listen, I have to be out of here at 3. I'm scheduled to work till 3. I have a daughter that I have to pick up afterwards. And she's like, well, listen, there was a huge thing to clean up. You should have stayed late to do it. Like, at that point, nah, fuck you, bitch. I'm scheduled to work till fucking 3. I'm sorry I couldn't get it done in time. Tell the kids to make a mess earlier. Like, that's on you. Hire somebody else. Schedule me later. Like, figure something else out. But with my schedule, this is how this has to work for me. You don't fucking own me. I'm not salaried. Like, or whatever. Like, I could totally understand. There could be scenarios where she would come off as being the bad guy. And companies do this all the time. I know people think I'm like a huge company defender, but companies fuck employees all the time over stupid fucking shit. And I could totally see there being, but in this scenario where the employee is 120% in the wrong and sits there defending himself being in the wrong and then deflects and refuses to acknowledge any fault of his own, it's kind of hard for me to make the assumption that all of the bad experiences have been on the employer's side, right?
I feel like he wouldn't be defensive or as I feel like he would admit he was wrong if she wasn't treating him like a child.
I guess we can sit here and try to predict that, but I mean, I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't want to. Okay, well, usually whenever I'm getting talked down on, I get defensive. Well, I don't. I realize after, but I get defensive and hostile because it's I don't like the manner in which they're speaking to me.
Like,
so I think it can be applied here that.
Unless you're from like Norway or like work at fucking Google or Apple or some shit or like some beautiful company with like a beautiful workplace where everybody is taking like sensitivity training to the max. Like if you're getting disciplined by an employer, it's probably going to be somewhat condescending, right? Like what? Like it's not Sesame Street or Barney. Like if you fucked up, like yeah, it's probably. Now I'm not saying they should be screaming at you or swearing at you, but yeah, you're probably going to feel a little bit bad, a little bit awkward, like. But I mean, like, it's kind of part of the relationship, right? If you fuck up, right, your boss, kind of checks your shit. You don't take it personally, and then you kind of move on from there. Like, this idea that you have to like tiptoe around an employee because you want to be really, really careful not to accidentally hurt their feelings. Like,
I don't want. Yeah, I'm not saying that either.
Well, I guess it's just like I've seen managers scream at employees before and get physical and like some really fucked up shit out of the McDonald's I used to work. That people were fucking crazy. Like I've seen like bad shit happen, or employers that were huge fucking cunts. Like I've seen that shit out of the passive aggressive bullshit, the super lazy fucking boss, somebody that's trying to pin off some shit on someone else. Like I've seen that before, right? So when people are saying like this boss handles horribly, and I open the video and I'm seeing like the worst thing she does is she's like, "What are your hours?" It's like, well. I mean, she's not even screaming at him. Like, damn.
I don't see how you can like speak to some. What are your hours? Well, my hours. What are your hours? Well, my hours. What are you like? Are you
no,
serious?
what that
like,
never happens. The thing is like
okay.
Here, like let's do it. Like I could see myself like, okay, like what time did you leave yesterday?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, what time did you leave yesterday?
Give you the answer. I left at 2:52.
Okay, no, that's not what he said. Okay.
Didn't he say that?
He said when she said, "What time did you leave?" He's like, "Well, I was at the door at right."
He said I was getting to the front door.
Yeah, I was getting to the front door.
I'm pretty sure he was gonna answer the question, but she just kept cutting him off.
But because whatever this shit is doesn't matter. She's asking a very simple forward question. Right? Your boss wants to know, "What time did you leave? What time did you leave?" Just give me a time. I don't like. That's it. That's an exact time. What time did you leave yesterday? That's a one-word answer, or like a time. Like,
I don't know. I feel like cutting someone off like that when they're gonna answer. Like it's not even that big of a deal if you say, "Well, I was at the front door at 2:52." 2:52. Like,
she wasn't asking what time he was at the front door. Like, this is what I would do. Like, if I'm talking to a employee, I'm like, "Hey, what time did you leave yesterday?" And he's like, "Well, I was in the back at," I was like, "Hold on." And or even I'll let him finish, right? "Well, I was in the back at, let's say he's scheduled to leave at 3. I was in the back at 2:54. It's like, and then I would say after that, I would go, "Okay, I didn't ask what time you were in the back. I asked what time you left." And then I feel like if I say that, people are like, "Whoa, why is he being such a huge cunt to his employee? He just said that he was in the back. He didn't have to be a real big jerk and ask him and be like, 'Well, what time did you leave?'" Like, oh my God, he was going to say it. Like, or you could figure out when he left. Like, well, no, dude. Like, you fucked up. I need the important thing about these conversations isn't that you fucked up. It's that I need to know that you fucked up, because I need to know that that you can't do this and that it won't happen again. So I need you to acknowledge your mistake, okay? I need you to tell me what you're supposed to do, and then I need to be assured that it's not going to happen again without any weaseling around, dancing around, wishy-washy words, well, I was kind of here and kind of there, right?
I don't know. I just feel like, considering the fact that he was being really polite when he was answering, at the start he was being really polite. Really,
I don't think I think he was being really combative. That doesn't feel polite to me. When somebody starts getting really wordy, and I don't think he was. I think within the first minute he's being very combative here. When somebody is like, "You left early yesterday." "I didn't leave early." "Well, you left early." "I didn't leave early." Like, "Well, what, didn't you're scheduled to leave at 3, right?" It's like, "Oh, I left at 2:52, but I came in early. Like, okay, motherfucker, so you did leave early. Like,
he's retarded in the fact that he can't realize that he was late. I mean, he left early. He's retarded in that fact, but he clearly doesn't. He clearly doesn't understand the fact that early means 2:52. But to him, that's what he doesn't understand. So he's being like,
I don't think he understands it. That's why he said 2:52, dude. I don't think he's being
extremely defensive on that fact. I think he's being like extremely he's soft spoken, and at the end where he's like, he starts getting really defensive and like saying that you're always picking on me. I think that shows some kind of history between the two where she's speaking down on him all the time. Like, he brings up at the end, like, you're always bringing me in here, talking to me, down on me like that. I'm not mentioning the part where he starts mentioning other employees. I'm just saying where he says that she speaks to him all the time in these meetings.
So, like, again, like, maybe I'm reading a little bit unfairly into this, but when she's like, when did you leave? And he's like, well, I was at the door at 2:52 p.m. It sounds to me like he knows that he fucked up. Like, nobody gives that answer. If he really thought he was okay to leave a little bit early, he would be like, I don't know, it was like 2:45 or 2:50, right? If he really knows, right? And that's an answer that a salaried manager could give. If he comes in and he's handing the shift off and he leaves early or whatever because it's fucking slow and the manager grills him the next day and she's like, yo, what time did you leave yesterday, right? Nobody ever gives an answer that precise unless they know they fucked up, right? If he left early and he thought he could, he'd say some shit like, I don't know, I think I left probably like 15, 20 minutes early. You never like, oh, I left at 5:24, unless he knows he fucked up. Every time, like, do you agree, or do you think I'm reading unfairly into that? I guess you could.
Oh, no, I think you're making a lot of sense, but it's just whenever I see my supervisor discipline someone who's made a mistake that isn't their first time, he brings them up to them. He comes up to them, yes, why'd you do that? And then he denies that he did it, and then the employee's like, I saw you did it, why'd you do that? And he's like, okay, fine, I did it. And he's like, don't do it again. It's that simple. Like, there's nothing else. There's no, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Don't do that again. Like, it says, don't do that again, and then we just move on.
Okay, and that's probably what would have happened here, but he wasn't even acknowledging that he made a mistake. He was making excuses for it. That's where things get very awkward, because you assume as an employer that the employee knows what he's allowed to do or not allowed to do. Let's say that I go out to the restaurant and my employee is bussing tables, okay, and every time before he busses a table, he drags his ball sack across the table. And I go up to him, I'm like, dude, you can't fucking do that. Are you serious? And he's like, dude, I'm cleaning the table off right after anyway. It's not a big deal, right? That's going to be a confrontation, okay? Now, if it's just like, hey, you can't drag your ball sack across the table, okay, even though you clean after, he's like, oh, shit, dude, my bad, I fucked up. I won't do it again. Like, okay, well, we're done. We move on. But if he does it, and then I bring it up, and he's like, well, hold on, dude. It's not that big of a deal. I shower before I come into work. My balls don't sweat that much, and I'm cleaning the table off right afterwards, right? Okay, well, now you're arguing with me about what you can or cannot do, and I'm your boss? Like, this is going to become a confrontation, right? And he was arguing. He wouldn't give a single point. He argued that he was allowed to let the firemen in early. He argued that he should have been allowed to. It wasn't right to leave them outside. He argued that he could leave because he came in early. He could leave early. He argued that he didn't even leave early, and he said it multiple times, even after admitting that he came in late. Like, he was arguing every single point. And then even at the end, instead of ever admitting I don't know if he admits a single fault in here, he deflects to every other employee does it, so why can't I do it, right? This is like the stereotypical shit employee that employees like every single excuse in the book to get out of being disciplined.
No, I guess you're right.
And I'm getting like, it's probably for you, like when you see a boss do it, I'm guessing that most of the time your boss disciplines an employee, usually the employee knows they fucked up and they say like, yeah, that was it. Like if you clocked in early, you left late, you were too late coming back from break, maybe, or you were smoking too close to the building, or you parked too close, right? You're not supposed to park in the customer line, you know the employee, right? Or some shit like that, right? Typically, I'm guessing what your coworker says, I'm like, yeah, I know, like, yeah, I fucked up, sorry, I won't do it again or whatever, and and then that's it. Then you move on from there. But have you ever seen like one of your employees like try to argue back whether or not they were allowed to do something? Like that would always be a confrontation,
Almost all cases where employees mess up, they admit that they messed up, but there are a few cases that I've seen where they try to fight what the supervisor is saying or the manager, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it usually doesn't get as it's not even hostile. It usually doesn't get to the point where the video has shown. But
sure, I guess.
I just wanted to say that a lot of the comments on that Reddit video or the post that was made for the video on Reddit are extremely fucking sexist and like it's unbelievable. how stupid Reddit can be.
All right. Well, hey, buddy, I love you.
Yeah.
Stay
Thanks.
safe. Be careful,
ya.
buddy. Rip one. My voice is dying. Holy shit. All right, we got a caller. West of the Rockies, Shadowstruck. You're on. Destiny.gg, the third shift. Take it away, caller. Make sure your radio's off so we don't get an echo.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Hold on, let me turn you down one.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything like too different than what everybody else said. I don't agree with the guy that was defending him saying that he came in early and that somehow makes up for the other guy. I also don't think he's unionized. I think if he was unionized and he got fired, that means he fucked up real bad. It's really hard to fire a unionized employee.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is it could have been handled way, way better. I think she's in the mode where she talks to kids a lot as a principal of a school, and I think she was talking to her employee like a child. And I don't really think there's any excuse for that. I typed it in chat. I'm not sure if you read it, but I think this would have been an adult way to handle the situation. Just saying, I realize you came in early and thought that it was appropriate to leave early. We have you from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. As your boss.
Hold on, wait. Can we start this over? Okay, let's go. Tell me the statement.
Okay. I realize you came in early and thought that it was appropriate to leave early.
I didn't leave early. I didn't leave early.
Okay. So I think if he did this, I would say, let me finish. You can respond afterwards if you have any concerns.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I realized you came in early. I thought that it was appropriate to leave early. You thought it was appropriate to leave early. We have you from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. As your boss, I'm telling you that these hours are not able to be compromised on unless you talk to a direct supervisor beforehand.
Okay, but
there was an incident you couldn't respond to due to you leaving early. This is something I expected not to see in the future. Thank you. That'll be all.
Okay, but the fire department was here. Am I just supposed to let him sit out there?
Yes, these hours cannot be compromised on.
So
I'm sorry that you thought that, but that is not how we function
if I wouldn't have let him in, if I wouldn't have let him in, you would have just shouted at me. You would have gotten mad at me for letting him sit out there.
I'm sorry that you think that way, but that's not how this situation would be handled. It's not how I expect it to be handled in the future. Please do not handle it this way in the future. 6:30 a.m. is our time. If you have a problem like this, contact a supervisor. If you cannot contact a supervisor, go with the standard hours.
You a cracker ass cracker bitch. Fucking shut the fuck up, cunt.
Then I fucking terminate you on the spot because that's way too hostile.
Okay.
So what do you think?
I don't know. I was trying to be obnoxious. Can you read me the statement one more time?
Sure. I realize you came in early and thought that it was appropriate to leave early. We have you from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. As your boss, I'm telling you that these hours are not able to be compromised unless you talk to a direct supervisor beforehand. There was an incident you couldn't respond to due to you leaving early, and this is something I expect not to see in the future. Thank you. That'll be all.
Okay. Do you play an instrument?
I used to play guitar for a few years, but
Did you ever play in a band?
No.
Do you do any sports or athletics?
Do video games count as sports?
Okay. So, I think your statement works really well written on paper, okay? But
Okay.
one of the problems is that if after that statement, if the employee says okay and wanders off, you don't really have an assurance that the employee understands, one, what he did that was wrong, two, that he wasn't justified in any of the things that he did, and three, that he's going to take steps to correct those things in the future, which is really, really, really important. So when I talk to an employee, right, if an employee fucked up and did something bad, so firstly, I need the employee to understand, what are you supposed to do, okay? So if we come in, let's say that employee mishandled a customer interaction, okay? So tell me, how are you supposed to treat a customer whose food got there late? What are you supposed to do, right? So then the employee would give an answer. Hopefully they would say, come and get a manager, or if they're, you know, like an upper employee, a shift dude, or what, I don't know, a lead or some shit. Maybe they're authorized to give out a coupon or some shit, right? So these are your, okay. So that's what you're supposed to do. So 2, then we would talk about the action that needs to be corrected. What did you do wrong? Why, like, you did this. You shouted at the customer. You told them you weren't going to refund them. You told them to suck your dick. You told them to go find someone else, right? You did something that was wrong. Do you understand what you did? Now, you know what you're supposed to do, okay? This is what you did. You can't do this anymore, right? And then 3, right, you would talk either about, you know, discipline, if, you know, like, I'm going to write you up or blah, 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 or whatever. And then you need to make sure that they understand the future. That's not how they're supposed to act, right? These conversations, when you're disciplining somebody, have to be two-way. You can't bring somebody in 2 ways. You can't bring somebody in and just give them a 13-line statement and send them out. It has to be a dialogue that you are engaged in with your employee so that you understand that they understand that you understand each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. What I will say is that I think if this was a first-time offense, you would give them the benefit of the doubt regarding whether they understand or not, right? Because, I mean, if they've been an employee for a long amount of time, like not like within the first week they're late or whatever, that's kind of bullshit. But first-time offense, give them the benefit of the doubt. If it's a running thing, then you need to kind of up the ante a bit. You need to, like, I'm going to be writing you up this time. I want you to understand this is not acceptable within this workplace.
Sure, but the problem is that, like, he wasn't accepting any of her points. He was fighting on every single point. And I,
I mean,
and again, like, I could be wrong,
it well either.
But I feel like these guys have a history, and based on the comments made here and the fact that the employee was wrong every step. So, like, let me, like, weigh what I have here, okay? So on the manager side, maybe she is sounding condescending or bitchy or whatever, right? Sure, we'll put that on that side, okay? On the employee side, okay, he is refusing to admit any fault. He is fighting her on every single point. He is lying. First, he says he wasn't leaving early. Then, after she catches him, he admits that he left at 2:52. Then later, he backs it up to 10 minutes or whatever, right? So he's lying about what he's even done wrong. He's not acknowledging fault anywhere. He is deflecting, shifting blame on other employees. Well, other people do this. You better write them up. He's making excuses. Well, the fire department got here, blah, blah, blah. He is not understanding how scheduling works. Well, I clocked in early, right? He has made so many pretty big errors on his end that it's really, really hard for me to be charitable whatsoever to his point of view, right? And there's plenty of evidence in the video from what he said that they have had confrontations in the past. I can't imagine that all of their confrontations in the past were him acting like a pristine employee and her being a massive cunt, when in this encounter, he has done everything wrong and is sitting there defending every action he's done, you know, while being completely in the wrong. Like, that's the big problem that I'm having. Like, if this was over some bullshit, like I said, if she was expecting him to stay late and work over, or, you know, like, maybe she wanted him to come in and work, but it was literally, like, snowing, and it was, like, fucked, and he couldn't get through or some shit, or he had a family emergency or something, like, then, like, I would be a lot more sympathetic to his case. And she was drilling it like, okay, well, this is some bullshit. Like, come on, dude. Like, chill the fuck out. You know, like, he had to leave at 3, or there was an emergency, or it was snowing, and he really couldn't get to work, and it was, like, fucking 4 inches of snow in a place that doesn't snow or some shit, right? Oh, yeah, in Georgia.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, like, that would be more reasonable. He's in the wrong in so many areas in this video. Like,
I mean, the thing is, we would both be making assumptions then, right? So, like, the first assumption that you made is that they have a history, right? That he's kind of repeated this before, that he's had other incidents where he's been at fault because of the way he reacted.
My assumption is built on the fact that he says that they've had incidents in the past where she singled him out. Okay, that's my assumption, is based on that evidence. I think it's a fair assumption.
Okay, yeah, it kind of is a fair assumption. But at the same time, what if she was really doing all this crazy stuff that he's been saying? What if this is the breaking point, right? It's like, I'm getting called in for this bullshit after all of this, when you and your friends, your clique are doing this. It's like, I could easily make the opposite assumption, saying, like, maybe, like, he really is getting discriminated against, and this is just the moment where he's, like, going, I've been taking this for years. I'm going to stand up for myself right here.
By being a bad employee and then denying it?
No. I mean, standing up for himself in the meeting, not the actual time thing where that was just a mistake. But he's like, you know what? I've been dealing with this person persecuting me for this whole time and asking me these unreasonable things beforehand.
Okay, so like,
and I'm gonna
So
break right here.
So let's pretend that we're defending a short story. This is a text, and we're engaged in an academic exercise, okay? And we are both charged with defending different assertions, okay? And I have to defend my assumption, and you have to defend your assumption. So if this was a text, right, I could cite several sources from the text backing me up, okay? He is in the wrong in all of these things. He is not cognizant of his responsibilities as an employee. He doesn't understand how scheduling works. He doesn't understand his responsibilities or liabilities in terms of letting people in early. And I can establish all of these things sourced directly from the text, okay? And I can establish that they've had confrontations in the past, right? So I can establish all of this and source direct lines from the text, okay? And then your counter argument is, well, maybe he's actually been a perfect employee in the past, and in this one scenario that we've caught him videotaped in, this is the only time he's ever been bad, and she's actually the one that's been really bad and unreasonable in the past. Which argument do you think holds like more water there?
Well, you need to realize that I'm not personally saying that's happening, right? I'm just putting that forth as a scenario to counter
sure.
what
But
you're saying.
But wait, well, but this is really important to understand, okay? Because if you're
saying there's more evidence for your
you can just
assumption.
all assumptions don't automatically become equal just because they're an assumption. Like you can make an assumption, like the periodic table of elements is built on some assumptions, but that doesn't make it equally as likely as the assumption that my dick can grow 47 inches, you know, if I take whatever Ron Jeremy tells me to take on some intro to a porn video, right? Not all assumptions are equal. I think I can defend my assertion very well, sourcing several lines of text from the video, but your assumption that maybe he's a golden angel employee and this is the one time he's been acting bad, I feel like that's kind of a stretch. Like you're relying on a lot of meta stuff that doesn't exist in this video, and you're making a lot of assumptions that you can't back up whatsoever, you know?
I mean, I think we're both working off a lack of information, but I will say that
that's
for my assumption, the way the conversation started, she was very condescending. She was not speaking to him like an adult. She was not letting him, she asked him a question and she did not let him finish. She asked the question 2 more times before letting him complete the sentence.
Okay, so don't gish gallop me, dog. Okay, so firstly, I can source everything. I'm not making any assumptions. I can source everything. The only assumption I guess I'm making is that this behavior has been consistent in the past. But I think that's a fair assumption based on everything that I can source here. About the not letting him finish, I mean, I guess I can reach a little bit on that. But like if I ask you, like, what time did you leave? I'm waiting for a direct answer. You need to tell me 2:55, 2:52, 3 o'clock, 2:40. Not I was heading to the door at. I was going. Was she being a little bit of a bitch or a cunt or an asshole or whatever here? Maybe, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of see it, sure. But again, like if I were to weight things on like the wrongs on both sides here, like the most I can give him is that maybe she was kind of rude or kind of condescending here. Sure. But like his sins are so many more numerous in this video that it seems laughable to focus on the fact that maybe she was a little bit mean.
Okay. I mean, what I was saying is she started off the conversation like that, so that's one negative in the book.
Well, I don't agree with that, though.
Very frustrated.
Well, here, let's watch the beginning of the video. Is this really asking? Hold on. I think it's 11, 12, 13. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to watch and listen. Like 16 seconds. I linked it in the chat.
So, what are your hours?
I already have it.
My hours is from 6:30 to 3 o'clock.
Okay. Why did you leave today at 2:45?
I'm watching now.
I leave at 2:45.
You did.
Okay, so up until 30 seconds, I don't see anything wrong. So first, what are your hours, okay? If we go by what I said earlier, we need to establish that what are you supposed to do, right? Oh, this is actually almost following exactly what I said earlier. So what are your hours, right? I need to know that you know what you're supposed to do. Firstly. Okay. Secondly.
Why did you leave today?
Okay, now we need to talk about how you fucked up, okay? So you know what you're supposed to do. You know what your hours are, so it's number 2. Why did you leave early? And immediately, he becomes combative. I didn't leave early, right?
I leave at 2:45.
You did.
I did not leave at 2:45.
I mean, I think that speaks to, it could speak to either thing though, right? He could be extremely frustrated because this has been a history of him getting shit on.
A history of him leaving early and getting called out for it?
No, just like any little thing, calling him into the office for constant meetings, saying like, well, why weren't you doing this? Why weren't you doing it? Well, I was doing this other thing. You have another employee to do this. Like, it could be a variety of situations, right? Like, there are situations where they could be unfairly treating him. And all I'm saying is this frustration could speak to him being a shitty employee, or it could just speak to him being shit on as an employee.
Okay, but in this video, I have numerous examples of him being an abysmal employee, and I don't really have any examples of the boss being unfair.
You have more examples of him being kind of irrational and defensive than him being a shitty... Like, if someone is frustrated and they're not thinking properly and they're on the defense like this, they might not be in a perfectly rational state. Like, I mean, this is their job. This is something that's important to them. This is something that can be scary to be called into one of these meetings. Maybe he didn't react perfectly well. Maybe he kind of just snapped and it just wasn't perfectly reasonable how he came across.
I mean, you're making it sound like he's in like Baghdad, like ducking and covering between buildings, like under fire, like he's in a meeting with his boss.
This guy's a lower class job. I mean, this is a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think he's like PTSD'd from meetings with his manager. Like,
what if he is though? What if the manager has constantly been persecuting him and he's afraid that he's going to get fired this time because they've been constantly on him?
Or maybe it's just because he's been fucking up and defending the fuck ups like he does in this very video.
I'm saying that's perfectly reasonable too. I guess like both situations, they might not be equally likely, but they're both likely enough that we should be giving them the benefit of the doubt and only working off what we see.
So, like, okay, so like here's my world. Okay, so like this is what I'm having problem is the assigning likelihood percentages of probability. Okay, so in my world, I say maybe he acts like the way that he's acting in the video all the time, and he's done these things all the time, and he has a history of doing these things like they say in the video all the time. That's my thing. Okay, and I can back all of that up with the entire video, several lines of text from the video that support every single statement I just said. Okay, and then you're saying maybe, okay, maybe in this video he was bad, but maybe in the past he's been an exemplary employee, okay? And the boss is actually harassing him all the time. And normally he's really nice, but in this one video he happens to be really frustrated. And also because of his frustrations, he's done really fucked up things in the past, like leaving early and letting people into the building early. But maybe he only did that because he was really frustrated about a bunch of stuff that we have no evidence of ever occurring. And right, you see like how many assumptions I have to build in order to make your story like at all anywhere near as probable as mine, that's like really easily believable, like right at face value?
I mean, I think it's important that this conversation kind of started out condescending.
But it didn't. How did it start out condescending? She just asked what his hours are.
She asked what his hours were. I think the tone was a little off. I'm not going to say it's too crazy. But I think when she asked him the question, she wouldn't let him to finish the sentence. I think that was the kind of true start of the conversation. And I think that tainted the rest of the conversation.
I mean, I guess I
immediately put him on the defense.
Well, he gets on the defensive. I don't know. Maybe this is like an autism test and I'm failing. It doesn't seem to me at 19 seconds like asking him, what are your hours?
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just what you're saying is very likely. It could even be more likely than what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we don't have enough information to work off here. But I'm saying they're both in the wrong here, right?
But this is the problem. You're trying to draw these like crazy false equivalencies. We're like, and I'm saying like maybe she could have been more Mr. Rogers-esque, but he is in the wrong on so many different counts that it's not even close to equally culpable in terms of like being at fault for the conversation.
I mean, are you saying he's wrong on so many different accounts, as in the offense itself and then him trying to defend himself?
Both of those are big wrongs, yeah.
Okay, what else is there?
So he's wrong for lying. He's wrong for being evasive about his answers. Okay, when she asks him what time he's leaving, he tries to give some weird, well, I was out the door, blah, blah, blah. He's wrong for deflecting and trying to blame other employees or asking if they're going to get in trouble too.
Hold on, where did he lie?
I don't know. The whole thing where he says it like, well, I left at 3 o'clock, where I didn't leave early. And then she was like, I called you at 2:45. And he's like, oh, well, I left at 2:52. Right? We're getting some trickle truth here.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. I can admit that.
So he's lying. He deflects to other employees, right? Well, I hope they get in trouble. He's not acknowledging any of his mistakes. Well, I had to let the firemen in. They're firemen, or I had to leave early. I came in early, right? So I mean, like, these are all like big wrongs against him that are inarguable. Like, and these aren't points where like I feel like he sounded like, no, these are just factually, inarguably incorrect statements that he's making and bad ways to act. Like there is no defense here, unless, or I guess the only maybe defense is that he's so emotionally compromised by this meeting with his manager that he just can't think straight, and it's driving him to these extreme emotional reactions. But I mean, he sounds pretty lucid to me, so.
Okay, I mean, would you say that's a possibility, though? I'm not saying that is the majority possibility. I'm just saying it is a possibility.
Do you admit that it's a possibility that the world is flat?
No.
Why? It could be possible. Even if it's really, really unlikely, it could be possible, right?
Are we saying the Earth or a world?
The Earth.
No, there's absolutely no possibility. You can go up in a plane and can verify yourself.
Okay, so you don't think it's at all possible. It's not. You won't even admit that it's possible that the way that lenses work has been designed on airplanes to make it look like the Earth is a little bit round, and that a lot of the information that you see is doctored by the government. That you've never actually seen a satellite, right? You've never gone into space yourself, right? You don't think you won't even admit that it's possible. However unlikely, it is very unlikely, but it is possible that the Earth is flat.
I mean, I think that's the false equivalency, right?
No, I'm just
what you're saying
no, we're
is
moving
like,
totally away
there's
from
like
the
a
convo.
0.001% chance, whereas mine is kind of just a human situation that probably happens every day.
Because
right?
yours is like a 1% chance, and mine is like a 98, and you're trying to make them kind of equal by saying that both are kind of likely, even if mine is a little bit more. But mine isn't a little bit more. Mine is rock solid. Mine is like I could write you a 2-page.
On those percents.
Okay, so this is our problem because you're trying. Like, I could give you. We could both right now. We could do this right now if you want to spend like 20 minutes. We could both write essays defending our points, and my essay would be so much better than yours because I could include like a dozen or more lines of text exactly from the video as sources in my text as arguments, right? Like I could spot quote the fuck out of this to prove a point, and it would be beautiful. And an English teacher would read it, and they would go, "Wow, excellent use of source material to support your argument. That was really good," right? And your paper would be one quote and a fuck ton of conjecture. You wouldn't be referencing anything in the video. You would be saying, well, sometimes these things can happen, and maybe in the past this is that, but you wouldn't be referencing the source material at all. It would be a ton of baseless conjecture. This is the difference between our arguments.
Drunk driver gets in accident with an experience.
Do you disagree with that?
They are equal.
If you disagree with that, we can do it right now. If you want to spend like 30 minutes doing it, we can both write like little sample essays or whatever if you want.
I mean, I've already conceded that I think your possibility is probably more likely.
Okay, but again, I'm not saying probably more likely. I'm saying orders of magnitude. Like, if my probability exists in double-digit percentages, your probability is in, like, low single digits to fraction of a percent, not like 25%.
Okay, I mean, like, first off, I guess my argument is more coming from if I was an employer and looking at this and I wanted to hire this guy, I wouldn't immediately judge this guy as like unemployable from this alone because I don't have enough information to work off.
He's
Whereas
fucking
I guess
up, and he's not even acknowledging it. What do you mean? He thinks he can make his own schedule, come in and go whatever the fuck he wants, and he doesn't even acknowledge that this is a wrong thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's wrong, but I'm just saying that there is potential for outside information. I don't know how to make that more clear. I'm just trying to rebut the point that you're making, the scenario that you're coming up with.
I think my what I'm saying is that the scenario that I'm coming up with is the one presented in the video, and that to accept that there's some other alternative reality where something completely different happened, while plausible, is incredibly unlikely and definitely shouldn't be the go-to, which is what most people are assuming.
Okay, I mean, like, My main problem was with her and her attitude, and I felt like she was unprofessional, right? So I'm not going to be trying to defend this guy and defend how he's trying to defend himself. What he did was unacceptable. There's really no situation in which it was acceptable from an employer's standpoint.
Sure. I mean, yeah, maybe she could have been more professional, but I don't know if I trust what your definition of professional is, because you say that she's being combative right at the start when literally all she's doing is asking what his hours are.
I mean, the hours question is a little borderline. I guess it's kind of expected within the workforce. It is kind of just like almost like a common phrase.
What do you mean?
But just asking someone like when they come in 5 minutes late, it's like, what are your hours? Like, it's a common phrase, I think, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just saying I had more of an issue with how she asked him a question and she wouldn't let him respond. That seems like very much something that teachers do to students.
Okay, but the problem is by the time she's doing that, he's already been combative. 2, he's already failed to recognize that he's made a mistake. 3, he's already lied where he said that he didn't come in late at all, right? And he's lied about it. So we've already gotten all of that from the employee fucking up out of the way before the boss plainly asks him, what time did you leave? And then, yeah, she cuts him off, and I guess that's kind of rude, but I wouldn't expect any manager, outside of like an episode of Barney or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I wouldn't expect any manager at that point to want to sit there and listen to an employee blabber on about fucking anything. You've already lied to me, you've already been combative, you've already fucked around all this time. What time did you leave yesterday? I don't want to hear at the door, whatever. Like, just answer the question. Like, I think that that's a pretty reasonable expectation that the employer isn't going to want to hear any extra shit at that point. Is it a little bit rude? Yeah, sure, but like, this is like a fantasy world where a boss at this point...
I feel like that was on the employer to control, though. You're the boss. Like, you control the flow of the conversation. If you don't want to hear their excuses, then you be commanding.
Okay, but the boss is an employee too. This isn't somebody that has, like 20 years in psych training and in therapy, counseling and whatnot, who's perfectly capable.
Do you think I do? I think my example at the start of this was pretty reasonable.
Yeah, but your example missed on so many of the key points of what employee-employer discipline goes as. Like, you think you can just give a statement, a 15-line statement, and send somebody out their way. You didn't get any acknowledgement from them that they know what they're supposed to do, that they know what they did wrong, an acknowledgement of what they did wrong, how they're going to change into the future. You just want to give out a 15-line statement and send them on their way, right? That's not how you discipline employees. It doesn't work that way. You don't get results that way. You don't know if they know they fucked up, and you don't know if they're going to correct any actions in the future because you don't even know if they're acknowledging what they did wrong.
Okay, I mean, I'll say this again. If it was a first-time offense, I feel like give them the benefit of the doubt. If it's multiple offenses, then you need to escalate the situation. Then you need to go like, I'm going to be writing you up. You need to sign this write-up. You need to understand that this is not acceptable. There's an actual punishment there. It's like, okay, if you get 3 write-ups, then you're either docked pay or terminated or whatever it is at that potential job. And then eventually you're going to have to say, like, you're going to be fired if you do this again.
It's clearly not a first-time offense.
I mean, yes, probably not. I mean, actually, definitely not. I think he says in his second video that he called into several of the meetings.
Well, he says even in this video that he feels like she singled him out in the past. So it's clearly not a first-time confrontation with a manager or boss or whatever.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at that point you either need to write him up or you need to terminate him. Like,
but
you need to have some tangible thing.
That's
there
what she's doing. That's what the going to HR thing is. She's probably. I'm talking a lot of shit here, and I don't actually know how this works, but I know that for the casino, if you wanted to put somebody at a final written warning, that was our last level of written warning paper trail before termination, you had to file that paperwork with HR. So it's possible, or maybe he's already on a final written warning, and the next step is termination, and she needs to talk to HR about that before she moves. I don't think that that's going on, because I don't think you would normally communicate with an employee if you were planning on terminating him for liability reasons. You don't want somebody that knows they're going to get fired to be working on the premises. But it's possible that was what she was saying when she said, I'm going to HR. If she's going to HR, there's going to be a paper trail of what the conversation that's taken place, right? If your boss ever tells you, I'm going to talk to HR about this, it's because they're creating a paper trail to cover their back if they have to fire you you for something in the future. So it's possible that she was telling him that because he was going on a final written warning or some type of final warning before getting terminated.
Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to argue as much as the other people that were on previously. All I'm saying is that there is a possibility of outside information that we don't have. I think that she could have handled it more professionally, and I think that he was in the wrong. That's pretty much the basis of my argument. There's really not much more to it. I feel like we're just repeating points at this.
Sure. All right, sure. Well, hey, I appreciate the call, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I love you. Have fun.
See ya.
All right, I love you guys. Stay safe. I'll see you Deuterino Cappuccinos later, okay? Careful, dudes. Rip on.